Guys, appreciate your time as always coming out. This is a Thursday for our team, and when you play on a Friday, you're able to completely flip your mind and know that this is a Thursday, tomorrow's a Friday, and then obviously game day. But our guys have done a really good job this week. Everything is about practice performance, and our guys are continuing to learn and grow. And you got to. I mean, you go from playing 7 games, we got to look at those 7 games and what have we done well, what have we learned about our team, learned a lot about our team in a good way, learned some things that we need to improve on. Our guys did a really good job in practice. And guys that are banged up, next man up, carry the flag. That's college football. And building that into our team, and we are a developmental program. And I started the meeting on Monday with our team and just went across the room like, hey, have you peaked? Have you reached your potential yet? And everyone's like, nope. So I was like, so we still have a lot of improvement to do, me included, and we need to get that done this week. And we know it's going to be a huge test on Friday night in the Blue. I mean, undefeated in conference, monster game. Listening to what they're talking about, what it is, like that's what this is going to be. We've had battles here on the Blue versus San Diego State. I'll never forget 2018 losing on the Blue to SDSU. You don't forget those moments. And those are the things that I know we're excited to attack, and especially who they are and what they're going to be about. I mean, we got to be ready to play, and we will be. So I know it's going to be a packed environment here on Friday night. We got to stripe the stands. I know Bronco Nation will show up in a major way, and that's a huge advantage for us. And we're going to continue to work our tails off to play our best football on Friday.
I know Ashton doesn't need motivation, neither does this team, but the comments from the running back earlier in the year, you let the team know about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm very open with our team. And this is what their guy said. He thinks he's the best running back around, including Ashton. That's just what's out there. And that's the beautiful thing about football is then you get an opportunity to go out and compete. And for us and our team, we want to be about our actions, not about our words. And that's what we're going to stay true to.
He's a pretty good player, though, right?
He is good. He's really, I mean, you get to 4,000 or whatever yards he has and 45 touchdowns for a reason. I mean, we've had to prepare our tails off for him, and we know he's going to be ready to go. We got our work cut out for us.
You've got a team, they sack really well, they've got a running back they rely on. Do you see any similarities maybe to how you guys play with the sacks and the top running back?
Yeah, I mean, that's a relentless defense we're going to see Friday night. I mean, they're very well coached. You could see that by they're one of the top scoring defenses on the West Coast. And, I mean, they get after the quarterback now. I mean, I think they have 28 sacks on the year. And, I mean, they give a lot of different fronts. They got some guys that were banged up that are healthy now. I mean, even outside of Trey, number 47, who's, the best pass rusher in the country, they've got other guys that mix in there to create the pressure on the quarterback. And so we got to have a really good day in protection. We got to have a really good job with the decisions we make.
You've mentioned that 2018 game a couple times now this week. Is it just the loss on the Blue? Any loss on the Blue sticks with you, or is there something in particular about that game that really?
Any loss on the Blue sticks. I mean, when you look at, the home record we've had on the Blue since the turn of the century, and there for a 4 or 5 year span, which I'm a part of, hasn't been as good as it needs to be. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And I hear that from alumni, I hear that from supporters, and I carry that weight. And I know that feeling. Like when you come to play on the Blue, like this is home. And we have to protect it. Easy to talk about, easy to tweet about. We have to put the work in to go do it, because playing here at home in front of our family, in front of Bronco Nation, matters to us. And we got to earn the right to play our best.
It's been about a month since you've had a chance to play in front of this crowd. Just how much have the guys missed that?
Yeah, I mean, playing at home on the Blue is an advantage. And that's for anybody playing at home, but especially here on the Blue, it means a ton to us. I mean, the legacy that's been created here for the decades that it's, we've been playing here on the Blue, and the traditions and people that have been coming to watch games here since they were 2 years old when their dad brought them. I mean, that means something here. And a lot of our players that we recruit, I could ask them and say, do you even know where Idaho's on the map? And they'll probably be like, yeah, somewhere up northwest. But if I ask them what field we got, they're like, you got a Blue field. And that's because of the success of decades of people being able to watch it on TV, see what it is. And so when we play at home, man, it means a ton to us. We talk about protecting the Blue. Like when it's your home, like it is your duty to protect it. And easy to talk about. We got to put the work in to actually do it. And we know we've got a huge opponent Friday night, and they're undefeated for a reason. And I cannot agree more with watching this film. I mean, they are getting better week in and week out. I mean, they got Washington State absolutely on the ropes. I mean, they're up big in the fourth quarter. They have been getting better every week. That's a testament to their coaches, a testament to their culture, and we know we are going to get their best Friday night.
Spencer, some of the stuff like you say as a coach can be cliche or sound cliche, but you say like stay in the fight. What is it like to see some of that stuff like live out in action on the field? And, like the third drive for UNLV is the one that stands out to me, where they almost trip off a 76-yard run. Banks makes a one-on-one tackle in wide open space. A couple plays later, Jaden breaks up the trick play by sniffing that out. 2 plays after that, he gets a sack, and a 44-yard field goal becomes a 52-yard field goal, and the kicker doesn't even reach the middle of the end zone. Makes a massive difference. Just What is it like to see that kind of that stay in the fight, live out in action on a game?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, when you, as a coach, it's my job to create messaging for our players, and I believe messaging is a force multiplier. When not only myself, but the coaches and our players, that becomes what you talk about, becomes what you think about, and then when you think about it, that becomes your actions. And being able to do that in practice, and then now being able to use game examples of it is everything. It's easy to talk about staying in the fight, but if all you've been doing is blowing people out and have never had to respond to adversity, you don't know if it's really sunk into your players yet. But there's multiple moments in that UNLV game. There's multiple moments throughout this season where our guys, it was not perfect. Like there's something that goes sideways, misfit on defense, drop ball on offense, whatever it might be, and our guys have to respond. I mean, that's football. And so seeing our guys do that in that UNLV game, I showed them those clips. I also showed them why we got ourselves in a situation to have to respond, right? There's always that. But the best teams, championship teams respond.
How big of a difference is it, though, to be down 17-3 in the second quarter with the opponents kicking off versus 10-3 and you got the ball nearly at midfield?
Yep. I mean, and I showed that exact sequence to our team to show them, okay, this is what happened, explosive play, they're in the red zone, it's a 10-3 ball game. We started with the ball. And so, I mean, they are winning the first quarter going in the second quarter. And then, I mean, if Jaden Virgin doesn't bat that trick play down, that's a walk-in touchdown. It's 17-3. Stay in the fight, keep swinging, line up again, get a sack, get them out of field goal range, or make it a long field goal, miss the field goal, it's a turnover. So instead of being 17-3, it's 10-3. We go down and put points on the board, and that's the momentum shifts in the game. And that's why I talk about a lot, that momentum is created through execution. It's not because of a pump-up speech on the sideline, or it's not because, oh my gosh, this is the crowd's finally roaring. No. Momentum is created through execution, and that's what I'm proud of our guys being able to sink back into their techniques, their fundamentals, and doing it for each other so they can execute in these critical moments.
When you say you keep your messaging the same, and I think of like the biggest game because it's the next one type thing. How do you get college kids to every week buy into that and not? Oh, he said that last week. Yeah, same thing. Tune them on. I mean, you can't afford a loss at this point.
No.
I mean, how do you keep them buying in every week? I guess they see obviously what the ultimate prize is here.
Yeah, no question, BJ, and that's a huge part of my job. And I tell guys, I make sure they know what is being talked about too. I'm not put our head in the sand and it doesn't, like, I'm very open with them. Hey, I know this is what you're reading. I know this is what you're seeing. And I'm open about what is out there, but I make sure I bring everything back to this is really what matters. If we focus on end goal things, whatever those might be, fill in the blank, things that are down the road, you will get caught slipping. And I show them examples of teams in the past, either us at Boise State or other teams, of this is what happened. So we can learn from the past through wisdom, or we're going to have to learn through the pain of losing the game. And to me, and it's not like my philosophy, this is how I believe to be successful week in and week out, is you got to focus on what you control and 1 week at a time. And that's why the messaging of this is the most important game of the season, because the next one, because it is. Last week we were saying UNLV was the most important game, and it was. Week before that, it was Hawaii. And you better believe that was the most important game, and it's going to be no different down the stretch. And to keep our guys, especially with so many things pulling at them, so much social media, parents, coaches, all the pats on the back. Oh, I mean, I've got people calling me about who you think you're going to play in the championship game. It's like, what are you talking about? We played 3 conference games. We have to make sure, and it is my job to make sure our guys focus on what really matters. I can't take away what's being talked about, positive or negative, but I can focus on the messaging when they come in here with our coaches and the work we put in, so then they earn the right to play their best and they're very focused on what's at hand. And I know we've done that. Like, I can't promise what's going to happen Friday night. I do know our guys know we are going to see San Diego State's absolute best, and we know we have to be our best because it's going to be an absolute dogfight Friday night.
What have you noticed? What have you noticed out of Ashton as far as maybe what he uses to motivate himself? Like we've all seen The Last Dance, and Michael Jordan would just find things and latch onto it. Does Ashton have that personality? If he hears something or reads something about, oh, he can't do this or he's worse off than that guy, I mean, does he use that as fuel? Have you noticed that?
I can see him using it as fuel, Johnny. I would say this about Ashton. He's very intrinsically motivated, right? And I relate to this, like, Ashton doesn't need outside motivation to put the work in and perform the way he does. He doesn't need someone saying something positive to him. He doesn't need something saying negative about him for him to be like, oh, okay, now it's time for me to really turn the heat up. That's how he's wired. He has a burning internal desire to be elite in everything he does, from on the football field to the weight room to who he is as a man off the field. That's how he's been since I've known him, as a 17-year-old coming to Boise State. So I would assume those things are reaching him, the negative and the positive, because it's all out there. I mean, everyone's got their own opinion on him, me, our team. Just depends where you want to click. It's coming. And it has not affected him because he's intrinsically motivated. He knows how good of a player he is. He knows how good of a teammate, leader, so on and so forth he is. And he's focused on what matters most to him, which is being the best version of himself. And he's one of the best teammates we've ever had.
The month of November, kind of is when the full season picture starts to come into bloom. Without looking ahead, how much does that excite you as a coach to finally see that picture all come together?
Yeah, it's a huge deal to me being able to take, obviously, even as I'm thinking about messaging with our team and going through kind of what we're going to talk about, I got to look back and see the things we've learned through games 1, 2, 3, all the way to now. And there's been a lot of good things. There's been a lot of things that we haven't done well. Could be my screw-ups, could be things on the field. And so I try to look back and look on our season and where we're at to have perspective with everything focused on what is the next game. And I mean, you guys know me, I'm a man of faith. I talk about Jesus a lot. And in the Bible, the number 7 is the number of completion. The number 8 is the number of new beginnings. And so I'm going to talk to our team about that. Like, hey, we played 7 games. That 7 is complete. Can't change it. We're 6-1. Whatever the yards were, whatever the stats were, that is over. You can't lean on what we did in the past. Game 8 or the number 8, it's new beginnings now. Who are we going to be now? What Boise State Bronco team is going to show up at 6 o'clock on the Blue Friday night? It's a new team. We're a new team every week. The number 8's new beginnings, and focusing on what is here now and what we got to be our best, which is Friday night. That's really where streamlined it is.
Last one, Jay.
Kind of along Ashton's notes here, or on Ashton. 31 carries at Hawaii, 33 carries at UNLV. How was your Heisman Trophy caliber running back doing in terms of the turnaround to get ready and maybe do it again this Friday?
Yeah, I mean, Ashton Jensen is an absolute warrior. He is banged up. He's living in the training room. He's practicing. He's doing everything he needs to be able to perform at the level he has been. And he's an absolute warrior. And to do that, to be able to perform the way he is, especially when everybody's goal we play now, Friday night, San Diego State's goal, if I'm in their defensive meeting right now, it's stop Ashton Jensen. We know what we're going to have to see from teams to be able to do that. And for him to perform at his best, to do what the team needs, not for Ashton, what the team needs him to do, it's relentless for him. In the training room, how he sleeps, how he hydrates, how he eats. And that's for him. It's for the rest of our players. I mean, when you're going into week 8 of the season, there's nobody across the country that's like, oh my gosh, I feel so fresh right now. Tell our players. So embrace that grind. Embrace the feeling like, yeah, I'm beat up. Embrace it, man. Let's go. That's why you're with your team. Do it together. And no different for Ashton. I mean, the amount of carries and what he's got, I mean, he's our guy. He's a warrior. And him to be able to live in the training room to get his body to perform at the highest level, he's going to need to do.
All right, thank you.